Hey, I'm Training Days, and welcome to my War Thunder Sim setup for PS4 and PS5. And I get what you're thinking, this looks a little bit funny, but I'm telling you right now that it is the best $3 head tracking you will ever buy. So this is a setup that's taken me about a year and a half to perfect, and today I'll be showing you not only the hardware that you will need in order to create it, but how to personalize it to yourself. But well before you begin building, there are three crucial pieces of hardware that you are going to need in order to begin. The first is your HOTUS system, meaning your flight sticks and your throttle. Second are your rudder pedals. And the third is this engineering marvel of head tracking. These are my flight sticks and throttle. Now, Thrustmaster builds these in 3 versions, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and from my experience, this one is sure to last you a lifetime. One feature that I actually find incredibly handy is that these two pieces can actually be separated down this line in the middle. These are the rudder pedals, again by Thrustmaster and extremely reliable. They work by sliding along these rails and using an integrated brake system in the toes to figure out which side of the aircraft you wish to brake and just how hard you want to. Another really great feature is that if you enjoy racing games like Gran Turismo, there is a slider right here that allows you to turn these brake systems into pedals for a car. So this will become the gas and this will become the brake. It's an awesome feature. I've never used it, but it sounds amazing. But this is one of the most unique things about my setup right here. What you are looking at is a $3 air mouse from Amazon. What it allows me to do is to actually set up head tracking, sort of like Track AR, for a PlayStation. Now this is the part that makes this setup look a little bit goofy, the fact that the air mouse actually does need to be taped to your head, and yes, I have found that Scotch tape is the very best way to do this. I've tried it with Velcro, but it did not work as well as you'd think, but it's really not that big of an issue. This air mouse weighs less than probably 3 or 4 ounces. It's very, very light, you barely feel it at all. Now one of the key things to note when building a setup like this is actually this little USB right here. Now, PlayStation 4 models have 2 USB slots in the front, although the PS5 only has 1, with 2 in the back. But make sure that that one in the front, or one of these on the PlayStation 4, is reserved by this little guy right here. So what this little guy does is that he acts as the sensor for this sensor on the front of your air mouse. So, when you plug this into the front of the PS4, right, this black part faces outwards. Therefore, when you press a button that activates your air mouse, and when you move your head, this picks it up and tells the PS4 where to move the camera inside of the cockpit, therefore giving you Track IR. For me, I find that the air mouse gives the very best tracking when the PS4 is sitting at a similar head height to where you will be sitting. Although I have also found that it is sufficient if the PS4 is lower or higher, as long as it is staying in the central zone, meaning when I'm looking down my setup, right, it is forward. Well, that doesn't line up exactly, but you get what I'm saying. It can't be off to the side or else the tracker does not work as intended. So if you have a keen eye and you've been paying attention, you might have noticed that we have 2 devices right here that require 2 USB slots. We also have an air mouse that requires a USB slot. In addition to that, we also have a headset that requires a USB slot, assuming that you are using a headset because you're going to have an air mouse taped to your fucking skull. And no matter what system you're on, you are simply not going to have enough USB slots on your PlayStation system in order to cover all the devices needed for this setup. Therefore, you are going to need this bad boy, the Insignia USB port. Now this USB port will require both a USB slot on your PlayStation as well as an external power source, so make sure to have an outlet close by. Now to actually plugging shit in. You're gonna grab this USB slot for your air mouse and you're gonna plug it into the front of your PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 system. As I said, the PlayStation 5 only has 1 USB slot in the front, so make sure that the air mouse has that slot reserved. Second, you're gonna take the power source for your USB port and you're gonna plug it into an outlet right there. Then you're gonna take this part, the thing that plugs into your USB port, and you're going to slowly push it in. Now, you're gonna take this, you're gonna also plug it in to your port, and then take the USB slot, right? This is the thing that goes into the PlayStation. So for the PS4, because it has 2 USB slots in the front, I can plug it in right there. But for a PS5, make sure that this wraps around back and plugs into one of the USB ports in the rear. And I'm just gonna clear this up now because I've gotten this comment before. Only the PS4 Pro has another USB slot in the rear. So please do not tell me that the base PS4 has another slot in the back. I've checked. It does not. So now that we have the air mouse and USB port set up, we can start plugging in the fun things. Rudder pedals, HOTUS, and headset. Don't ask me what I'm holding this camera up with. Now here's where we're going to get into the customizable part of this video, with a very clearly homemade base. Now I am not a professional carpenter, I'm barely even a good one, although the goal is to try to get you guys building something better than my own. To begin, you're going to get some 2x4 or 1x3s and lay them down on the floor. Then grab your rudder pedal system and jam them between the boards. You're going to make it as snug of a tight as you can possibly do without jamming up these rails. And then you're going to want to put these posts on. So in order to find the correct height of these posts, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab a chair and grab your rudder pedals, and then grab these two boards that you had already built, okay? Grab the system and pull it as close to you as possible. So you have the uncut boards right here that you're going to use as posts, right? You have your feet in the rudder pedals and your ass in the chair. Now, start moving the rudder pedals back and forth as such. Make sure to mark the maximum height of your knee on these posts. So the board is uncut right here, right? Make sure to mark it where the maximum height is and increase it by about 1/4 inch at least. What this does is that it ensures that when you put this plank in that connects the two posts that you're going to create, that your knee will never hit this board, because I've done that and it does not feel good, especially in a dogfight. So to prevent that problem, do as I said and just make sure that whatever the maximum height of your knee is, increase it by at least 1/4 inch right here so it never hits. The next step is to cut a plank that'll connect the two posts that you've already created. But before you screw this on, what you're going to want to do is figure out the approximate height that you're going to have for your flight stick. Now doing this is quite tricky, and it's taken me a few tries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tries to get this exactly right. But if you get it wrong, it can hurt a lot, because there are corners and edges here, and I've sanded this down a little bit. But if your inner crotch starts rubbing up against where your flight stick is in this piece of wood, that'll hurt a lot more than your knees banging. So all in all, you don't want to get this wrong. And in order to make sure that you don't get it wrong, take the plank that you've already cut, right, and place it on top of the post without them being screwed on. Then grab these thin pieces of wood and line them up under this board. Then grab another board and extend it all the way out here, all while holding it. Just have your knees, again, like I said, and just start moving your feet in the rudder pedals. If you feel any discomfort, I recommend you change the height. When you have it all set, screw these in first, through the top, just like this, and through the bottom, I think I have that as well, and then screw it into the post and connect both the sides. So once you've tested this height with your flight sticks, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add these two boards on either side. For me, I use this one for my throttle controls, and this one for a Bluetooth keyboard that I use to communicate with my team. This is what that completed setup looks like, and it gives off a very cockpit feel. In addition to that, I also use my regular DualShock controller, mostly for pulling up the map, changing camera view, and for pulling up the scoreboard with this button right here. But you don't need just a little stand for this. I mean, this could be up here. You could figure out a way to put this up here or put it over there. It's really not a big deal. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really, really hope this was helpful, because this setup has truly changed the way I play this game. I'll be having a settings video on how to set up all of this beautiful hardware coming out in the next few days, and if you're here from the future, it'll be linked down below. Also, all of the hardware that I used, including the air mouse, including the Bluetooth, the USB port, sorry, all of that stuff will be linked down below as well. So if you truly want to recreate this, you can. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you in the next one. If you're not subscribed and you are new, please subscribe. It truly helps out. And I'll catch you on the next one. Adios.